The Wellness Show, Episode 53.
Welcome to The Wellness Show, a podcast on health and wealth. I'm your host, Tyson Bannigan, the founder of the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. Join me as we get the latest insight, tips, and strategies from wellness providers, coaches, and successful, heart-centered entrepreneurs, and much, much more. Welcome to the Wellness Show, and today we have Eric L. Soul on the call, a long-term friend. We've been working together in the dowsing field for, quite a few years now, sharing protocols.
Quite a few.
And so she's from Australia. I'm very excited to have her on the call today so we can talk about mutual things like how to receive guidance. So, Eric, tell us a bit about who you are and how did you come to what you're doing?
Okay, so I'm Erika and I give energy readings. I facilitate transformational healing readings, and in that work that I've been doing for quite a while now, and I'm never good at keeping track of how long. All I know is I probably really got into it when my son was under 2 years old, and he's now 27. So probably 25 years minimum. But even then in my 20s, I was into a lot of personal development and spiritual courses. So when I look back, I'd say my journey, where I really got onto the path I'm still on now, was when I was 23. And it was within a yoga class. And in that yoga class, she had the, the wheel of reincarnation. And she started talking about there were many paths up the mountain to God. And all of that just in being in this lady who was like 70 or 80 years old and doing all this yoga, but she taught meditation and a lot of things. And that class is what really got me doing a lot more spiritually. So from then on, I really...
How did that class trigger you? Did it trigger past memories, or what was she saying?
It gave me an awakening, an awareness that even though I hadn't become part of my dad's religion, that I wasn't wrong and that I was on my own journey to God. And it's not that he said I was wrong, but he'd been a real spiritual seeker, and his father was a minister. So we'd gone to the Catholic Church, we'd gone to many churches and places. And then when I was 13, he became a Baha'i. And of course, a Baha'i faith is a very good faith. So through my teenage years, I got to participate in the Baha'i faith up in Brisbane, Queensland. And it was very, 70s and very pretty special back then. And Dad would host things in our home. So when I became 15, you could join and become a Baha'i. Now, it's amazing, at 15, I already knew my path wasn't to become a Baha'i. But I wasn't aware that this was my inner guidance, okay? It was just me being at 15. No, I don't want to join something that says thou shalt not do this or that. And they didn't put it that way, but I didn't want... I've realised many, many times it just wasn't my cup of tea to live within their tenets, right? Which aren't wrong, just weren't my loving soul self, So when I became at 23, it shook off all that I hadn't become a Baha'i, and that Dad had tried to go, I'm on the wrong track, right? Mm-hmm. And then this lady explained there's many tracks up the path to God. And basically, soul will choose each spiritual path. It might become this kind of Christian, then another type of Christian. And each lifetime, if we believe in that, we're going to evolve to another teacher, another teaching. All right? As we go along, evolving ourselves into becoming really who and what we truly are as soul. So for me, it wasn't the Baha'i, and that at 23 opened the door for my spiritual awareness. And so I started becoming very much into yoga, meditation, and personal development of all kinds. I mean, there's so many things I've touched, but I never became a member or committed to any one thing. But when I was 36, I did find a spiritual path that has been the foundation for all that I do. And so it's just that path is my vehicle for my spiritual growth and my development. So that's what is at the base of what and who I am developing into.
Is that one that is that one of your own, following your own guidance, or is it a path that was been laid out?
And that path is all about inner guidance. That's
right,
what they teach all the time, following your inner guidance. And then I found, I didn't think there was anything ever I would go joining and belonging to, because I just never did.
Yeah.
And this path, everything, it ticked everything. Past lives, dreams, reincarnation, inner guidance, spiritual masters. So it had it all for me, and I've never looked back. I've been on it since 1994, which is, 21 years or more. And so with that, I then take that into every aspect of my life. And it's always this, you're always going higher. So I'm at the 4th initiation at the moment, about to go to the 5th, which is the soul level. And I've got a bit about this one, because this is kind of where you're above the planes of time and space and matter. And you're functioning more from your soul self, which is energy, So it's like, I'm not in any rush for the 5th, because I'm a bit, but I keep seeing the number 5 a lot.
So how do
I know
you
they're getting
to these levels? Is this based on the 7th level, like theta, where the 7th level is creator, or is this, how did you get the idea of levels?
In theta healing, because I have trained to be a theta healing practitioner as well. So I've done the intuitive anatomy course,
yes,
which is medical, being intuitive. Now, I did that course twice, so the second time I came back to assist people on the course, because I wanted to redo the course, and it's a 3-week full-time course that costs a lot of money. So I was like, I get to repeat it, but I have to pay thousands. I'm coming. I dropped all my activities for 3 weeks, and most other students just popped in and out for a few days here and there. I went for all the days I could possibly go, and again, my inner guidance would just help me out if 2 people were, doing work together. Now, back to your question. What was that question again?
Well, I think you've answered it, that you're talking about the 7th levels that come from theta. So the 5th level, tell us about the 5th level and that initiation.
By the way, her 7 levels are actually 14. They're actually 14. But to simplify it for theta healing, so the 7th plane is actually a whole, there's planes within every plane.
Yes, okay? I understand that, yes.
So the 7th is going to the soul plane. I had to really work this out when I was doing theta healing for years. So what is she doing with the planes and blah, blah, blah. So I meditated, I contemplating, okay, so what she's done is this, because she's got across the board everybody she's teaching. Yeah. So she's just made the 7th. But for us, the soul plane, and then there's the 6th plane, the 7th plane, the 8th plane, the 9th plane, the 10th plane, right? Mm-hmm. And on. So there's always another level.
So when you're talking about the 5th plane, you're still talking about her 5th plane, are you?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So tell us what a 5th plane initiation will involve.
Well, what it means is more. See, there's 2 aspects with God. We've got the light and we've got the sound. So there's a sound vibration and there's a vibration of light. Now, a lot of people just go light, 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 light. But then there's all these people into sound healing and vibration of sound. And if you're feeling a bit low, you can just lie down, and for 10 minutes, and if you're not lying down, just sit there, and for 10 minutes, let the sound vibration, and now you can just imagine it's a vibration, a sound vibration of God or the universe, come into your cells, and allowing it in consciously for 10 minutes, right, will start to shift your energy, and you'll feel the difference. And that's why all the meditation people and the Buddhists are busy chanting words, because those sounds act within our vibration and activate us, right?
Yes,
now the
absolutely.
light is going to come in and cleanse and purify us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people, now when you find a spiritual path that talks about the light and sound of God, you know they've got it, because they understand the two are what we call the Holy Spirit, right? Divine Spirit. It flows through us, okay? And it comes from what people call the Godhead, you know, of everything. Now, we're really, for some reason in our talk, we've really gone on the spiritual track, which is where I really do sit at. But in a lot of my work that I facilitate, and I like when I work with anybody in person, I work with their state of consciousness. Not that it's better or worse or lower or higher, but I go in tune with them. I don't shift me down, but I gear the session for what they require and their vibration, so I don't blast their gaskets, you know, and they fall apart afterward with energy, right? So I do need to, I'm not going to shift mine down, but what I'm working with them, I will just keep it at a certain level for them.
So would you say
Now,
that your
again,
intention is to raise their level of spirituality or their vibrational frequency?
Yes, yes. Now, without this spiritual aspect, healing just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. We only shift the back. See, we're really good what we've been discussing so far. We're only shifting the, so we've got a physical body, a emotional body, a causal body, which is the causal plane, the memories, that's the third plane. The fourth plane is the mental, but there's an in-between plane called the etheric, right? Now, a lot of, like one day a guy was giving me a massage treatment at an expo, and I knew him from St Andrews, which is a pretty far out market, you know, like it's far out of Melbourne and it's far out of people. And I said to him, wow, you're just operating from the etheric plane. I just got that. So for me, I just get something coming in as a truth, as an awareness, as a knowingness, right? But unless you're opening yourself up spiritually, how are you going to tune into your inner guidance? Unless you're doing some spiritual practice. So the people that just, I just want my inner guidance, I just want to be clairvoyant or psychic, well, you can just work on those psychic planes, which is the astral plane. Now, I choose not to work from the astral plane. I want to go straight up, and this is amazing how we're just coordinating this talk, you and I, because I will go to at least the soul plane and above. And of course, in theta healing, it's always training to go to that seventh plane, because they understand that as well, that you want to go to the highest level and connection with God. I'm not into calling God creator. Now, creator seems to be a word that people use to be neutral about God. I'm a real God word person, and I'm starting just to break out, and in most of the time I'll know that people can be allergic to the word God, so I'll kind of leave it out. But these days I'm going, I'm just going to be me. I love the word God, and I've understood that even if you know nothing else to do with spiritual practice, that you just chant the word God, right, that you will come higher and higher up into the consciousness of God. You'll spiritualize your consciousness. And if you need big time help, don't just scream out, God, help me. Just go, God, you know. Now, I've had many awarenesses about the word God for me, and that's why I use it. I've had dreams where I've chanted and used the word God and got myself out of spiritual trouble on the inner planes. Because we can have problems when we're asleep, we can have entities. We've got all sorts of things we've got to deal with and get ourselves out of. You know, I know in one dream I went, oh, I'm like the cat. I'm curious, what's in this room?
Mm-hmm.
And I stuck my head in, and there was a nasty negative entity in that room. And in the dream state, I go, uh-oh, should have gone in here. And the next minute, I'm in a big room with this entity, like a boxing ring. And my spiritual master that I have walks by and leaves the room. And I'm like, you're not even going to help me? What are you here for? You're supposed to have my back. So he leaves me in the ring, and I've got to do for myself. I've got to fight off this entity, right? And I call upon now. I've got lots of tools. I've got other swagger tools I've gathered for dealing with entities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you call it, entity, not ghost busting, but entity busting. And if I come across a new thing, I go, yeah, I'll add that one in too. Now, this, with your permission, I'll lead into. Yesterday, I'm going on a day trip down to Mornington, which is outside Melbourne, and travelling along in the car. And I was doing an access consciousness thing where they talk about all the distractor implants that we have: fear, doubt, shame, blame, regret, guilt, blah, 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 right? And I'm going, not feeling really great this morning. Oh, wonder how many distractor implants I have controlling me. Okay, but I can't go into, we haven't got time to explain all about distractor implants, but just check out access consciousness and put in access consciousness and distractor implants, and someone will have a blog or explain about them, okay? So they're just the ways that where they talk about them being implants, but it's like when you lose yourself in a distractor implant, you're lost in the room of doubt or fear or shame or blame, and it's controlling you. So it says I have 50% and I use muscle testing, and this is where getting back to inner guidance. So I'll use muscle testing, I'll use, which is kinesiology, I'll use dowsing, I'll just whatever tool I'll tap into to check in with inner guidance, okay? And I'm being controlled by them 50%. And I went, all right, let's run the process for clearing distractor implants. Driving along, I'm running it, and I test again, 50%. I run it some more. I test again, 50%. What? Why isn't this shifting? This should be going down. And then I went, in the background in my car, I've got an access consciousness 2-minute recording. They're just on repeat. Clears entities from your home, from your body, from your neighbourhood. I went, okay. I suddenly tuned in that I had this playing, and I went, is there a negative entity preventing me from releasing these distractor implants, right? Yes. I went, So then I went, I'll tune into this recording and clear this, right? So I just imagined, with this negative entity. So I did whatever I did in the moment. It's really hard to go back because it's like a dream, because it's like a dream. And so that went, and then when I checked, I had 0 distractor implants controlling me. So somehow now an entity is a negative thought consciousness. You be the one that knows all about entities. So
I know way too much about entities.
Yeah. Isn't it funny? I look at you and I start talking about entities and dreams and entities. Now, we really probably get an allergy to the word entities, and I used to do this. No, entities. I had a friend of mine who'd say, I woke up in the night and I was busy clearing entities. And I go, I don't really want to talk to this lady too much. I don't want entities, Yeah. But this is what happens in life. I started doing this about entities. So I end up doing theta healing and becoming a master of clearing entities. Because in the course, especially that 3-week intuitive anatomy, we'd be checking in all the sneaky places they hide to clear them, Now, again, an entity doesn't mean negative, does it? It can mean, we're an entity.
Yeah, we are an entity. I sometimes wonder about the fact that we show up multidimensionally on other planes, and probably to some other beings on other planes, we're probably an entity interfering with what they're doing on their plane. So I've always thought, well, maybe entities is just not being totally aware that you're showing up on a plane that you don't really understand the rules of the game, and that therefore you're interfering with what's happening there only because you don't know any better. And so with that sort of thought, I've been having more compassion towards entities, that they have a distinctive role in our evolution, and therefore I'm much more compassionate towards them than I was before. I used to sort of have the pox upon them all. We have to send them all to the light, or, do whatever. Yeah. Now I'm more like, hey, so you're showing up. So what is it that your gift is? What is it that I need to learn? What part of this am I not claiming myself? Because, according to Ho'oponopono, I've called you into my field for something I haven't learned yet. So I've sort of shifted to becoming far more compassionate about even the worst of the worst, even the nasty little ones. They have a real distinct role to play. So this is sort of a new awareness for me.
And I have a story about someone who reached God consciousness, became a living spiritual master, living meaning not he's passed on and he's a spiritual master. And of course, this night was so it just came in as a wave and shifted all this stuff out all at once, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that he could reach that God consciousness. But of course, for a few days, he was a bit unbalanced. And that's the thing about what we do. We've got to always keep our balance spiritually and physically and emotionally. And I'll be really aware of that when I'm working with someone. And I'll say to them, look, this healing's going to come in at the right time to keep you balanced. So I always put the wording in there when I'm working with them. This is so that we keep you balanced, in balance and harmony with all of life. So he ended up getting put into the mental hospital because he was acting a bit too strange for our society, right? And every night while he was in this psych hospital, he was fighting entities. They were thick as thieves in that hospital.
I can imagine.
Now, he did get out and he was fine. There was nothing wrong with him, but he just had to regain his balance, as a human being and integrate being a God-conscious being, human being in the body, So now I just wanted to mention that I've attuned myself for this interview to be the energy and frequency of whatever each person watching this requires to shift and transform something in their life. That while we're talking, I'm this vehicle for all those energies. And even if it's just a quantum shift and awareness and insight, some aha moment, something that heals something within you, that whatever you are requiring right now, you can access this each time you listen to this YouTube video. And each person will receive something different. Now, some people might have an awareness, oh, this really changed after I watched that. And some people go, nothing happened, but something did,
Mm-hmm.
Because most of the time in life, we're not really tuned in and turned on to our inner guidance. And our inner guidance, now this whole inner guidance thing, I see this, imagine a baby being held by a loving parent, could be a mother or a father, we don't always have to make it a mother, and it's being given a drink, right? And the drink, the milk, is, let's say, the river of God, coming to this person. Could we call it divine spirit, unconditional love? And the baby is fussing, and it's squawking and crying, and it's anxious, and it's fearful, Now, it might take a little while for the parent, holding it, but I'm holding you. You're safe. You're back.
Yeah. You got as far as the parent hold.
Okay. So loving parents holding the baby is squawking, and I realised when I read this story in one of my spiritual books, I realised that, you know, we tense up, we're anxious, and so we're not drinking in that love that's always available. We're not aware that God's holding us in its arms, or life, or the universe. We don't realise we're safe. But when we do a spiritual practice, which means a spiritual exercise, a meditation, a contemplation, just that time with ourselves, communing into the universe and love, maybe travelling out there in the ethers to another planet, or, you know, going up to the soul plane. So when we do this and we bring in this awareness of our spiritual self, we can receive that inner guidance. So when the baby realises, oh, I'm all okay, I can drink the milk, and it relaxes and it gets happy and it feels loved and nurtured and it knows it's safe and it has all its awareness that everything's well in its world. And I realised, oh, yes. So when we're in our busy beta brainwaves, because everything, by the way, is governed by brainwaves. So if you get your brainwaves right, you're pretty right, okay? Mm-hmm. So now I can say that as a truth because that's an awareness of a truth for me, right? That I've accepted that, especially with doing theta healing, all about brainwaves. So when the baby goes into this brainwave state of, you know, much different frequency, it's able to accept love, and we're not stressed and we're not worried. But when we're in that beautiful state, and we can just, to get there, we can say, I allow myself to rest and relax in the loving arms of God. And we can just meditate and imagine ourselves going into that loving, peaceful state, and we're drinking in that love, that golden elixir. And we can do that to quieten ourselves and then go off and have a meditation. And the more we do this spiritual practice, the more we're able to listen and tune into all of life. Because our brain, our mind and our emotions aren't all, you know, we're thinking this, we're doing this, we're emotionally stressed, blah, blah, blah. We're in that relaxed state and we can access the universe and our inner guidance. Now, Esther, you know, Hicks from Abraham and, you know, all that work, Esther and Jerry Hicks, I've loved their work a lot. And she says, you know, before you speak, align with source. Get yourself in alignment, flowing with the river of life, not trying to battle the stream. And that's where we stress ourselves, because we're trying to battle. And I call it resisting what is. So we're busy resisting what is, then we're busy resisting what isn't. So I'm not experiencing this, right? It's not in my experience. And I'm resisting what is that it's not. So we're resisting what is and what isn't, right? So I've really realised how much we resist, because I resist, right? I understand from my point of view. So how much we're resisting that flow of the divine through us. And when we let that beautiful flow come through, it shifts and transforms ourselves. It brings about the changes that we are fearful of. So when we're actually letting go, we're letting God go with the divine. Really big time.
We're back now, and we were just cut off. We had a major rainstorm here in the middle of the guided meditation. It was very powerful. It poured and poured and poured, and we lost our internet. So we're back here. We're about to wrap up this session. We're going to meet again, Eric and I. We have lots to share. I do have a question for you. You were in the midst of a guided meditation about what it is to connect with Source and how to let it flow through you. And you like to use the word God, and I get that, and you use it as a mantra.
Yes, now any word that they love, that works for them, they can ask for their own spiritual word. And if they get a special word, please don't share it, because that's your secret word that works for you to unlock things spiritually for you, for, you know, your consciousness, and for those initiations I talked about. So you can utilize any word. You can say, I love the word God, I love the word love. It could be a Ho'oponopono cleaning word. But that's your word, and you'll know if it works, because when you use it, you'll really feel an effect from it. And it'll feel like you're, I'm really feeling really strong and good now, right?
Yeah,
So, but if you don't have a word, you can ask spiritually to be given your word.
you know, I really refer to you as the spiritual clearing queen. I really see you as a feminine counterpart of the work that I feel called to do. So, Erika, you talked about the power of both sound and light together. It seems to me that with the amazing clearings that you have available on your website, which you're about to tell everybody about, one of the powerful things that could be added to it is video, what we're doing right now, so people can see who you are, can hear the sound of your voice. And so I look forward to that, because that will be doubly powerful. So Erika, you do have this amazing site. Lots of people come from all over the world to help, to have the assistance, your assistance to clear online. So could you tell everybody about your Facebook group and how they get hold of you?
Yeah. Now, my website is Rainbow Healings, and healings with an S on the end, healings.com. From there, you will be able to access nearly everything I do. I do have tons of recordings on SoundCloud now, and I've had thousands and thousands of plays of my tracks there. It's been incredible. On Facebook, I'm known as Erika L. Deutscher, because Deutscher is my maiden name, and Facebook have kind of locked me into only using that. So Deutscher is Deutscher, but I have a Facebook online energy healing group called Soul Energy Healing, and that's my platform, my vehicle for people to come to a healing circle online. That's free. Here and there I facilitate something that does cost a bit of money, but that's actually to stop everyone participating because I don't want to do all the work for nothing, you know. Right. So I only want a select group who are committed. And that's my group money attunement, because my group money attunement is a huge SRC file, and people go in there. I run 21 days programs within Soul Energy Healing, and in those 21 days each month, one is the group money attunement SRC, and the other one I shift and change. So one month it might be your deep pendulum clearing, you know, and I'll add in a few other energy protocols. So I'm sort of really into the dowsing, cord cutting, I end up calling my work Soul Energy Healing, because soul, we are soul, I am soul, and energy and healing. So really, Facebook, Erika L. Deutscher. If you go into my about on my wall, you should be able to see all my groups. I've got Ho'oponopono Lovers is my Facebook page, and I have a divine cleaning room for that, where people can come in and clean together. It's not to teach them cleaning. So I also have a blog, Daily Divine Blessings, on Blogspot, which I then share a lot as well. Now, before we finish, I just want to let you, Tyson, know that as a member of the Victorian Dowsers Society here in Victoria, in Melbourne, I've been invited twice to give a talk there, and each time I will be using your deep pendulum clearing, mentioning you, putting out your website on my printed, because I always facilitate giving people handouts of everything. So one time I did the deep pendulum clearing for the whole audience, and we went dowsing the building, and the Dowsing Society had been trying to douse that building for years, and every time it goes back to shit again, right? And with the deep pendulum clearing and my inner guidance, at the time, and I got all of them to join me in doing that deep pendulum clearing, get the pendulums out, and we shifted and cleared something from the building that had been stuck in there and was connected to Aborigines. Because that, when you dowse, the awareness just comes in. Your inner guidance just comes in and tells you, oh, they're not happy we're here, so they keep blocking all our efforts. So I had to kind of, I'm actually a professional mediator, and in my training, so I actually did a bit of mini mediation with the spirits to say, all right, well, we'll clear it, but can you let us use the building, and not do this. So I just wanted to say that as much as you might say, oh, Erika does this, I actually, with all my clients and work, I'm always saying, deep pendulum clearing, Google it, Tyson Bannigan. Yeah.
Well, thank you ever so much. It's been great to have you on this call, and I want to have you back because we want to do the divine money flow together, which is really one of your pieces. So we'll do that as soon as possible. We'll do another whole clearing around that, so everybody on the call will learn how to do that. Well, thank you ever so much for joining me on the show, and it's nice to know that you're spreading the word and clearing in Australia on the other side of the world. And together, we're just going to clear this planet one person at a time.
Yes, and I can't recommend deep pendulum clearing more highly than I already do.
Well, thank you.
Because you can tell how clear you are all the time. Okay?
Yes, and for those that want to have it, it's at the www.energydetective.ca, and it's there for free for you to download, and you can always get it off of Erika's site as well. Or you can get it off Balancing and Energy Healing on Facebook, which is my closed group that you're welcome to join as well. Well, once again, it was great having you on the show. We're going to have you back, and we're going to do some money clearing, abundance.
Yay!
All
Definitely.
right.
I'm all into money clearing and dowsing and protocols. We can do a whole money session. Yay!
Yay! All right. All the best. Take care.
Okay. Thanks, Tyson. Great. Bye.
Bye-bye.
For quality online wellness products, courses, and services, visit our sponsors, thewellnessstore.ca and the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy located at thewellnessacademy.ca. To stay in touch, visit us at thewellnessshow.ca. And until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.